come on and do this quick live for people who are asking about the video that I made. When did I post that? I posted it yesterday, as a matter of fact. It's already reached about 20,000 or so views. But what I like to do is make the video, and it's only about 1 minute and 40 seconds long. And then what I do is a live, or I'll pre-record a video explaining it in totality. Those videos end up being a lot longer. So what I'm doing right now is explaining that video and some of the components and pieces that I mentioned in the video. But also what I like to do is play the video. Okay, so I'm going to play the video first, because other people watch the video. They may be thinking, what video are you talking about? Well, it's the video that I post on the social medias. So if you are with me, great. If you're not, follow us on Facebook. We have a page that's for men and women. Gentlemen, we have a private Facebook group that's just for men. We have TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So right now I'm broadcasting live through YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. So let's dive into it. Let me play the video first for you, because I like to, again, play the video and then I'll expound on the video. I'm going to play it for you and then we'll dive right into it, okay? And I also talk about some of the comments, which are very, very interesting. So here we go. Here's the video.
Ladies, here's what the average guy won't tell you, but a gentleman definitely will. Ready? Here we go. Gentlemen choose Pick-Mes over independent women, boss chicks, or any other female archetype with masculine tendencies. Hands down, every time. I'll give you 3 reasons why he'll choose her. And if you want to be chosen by your very own gentleman, favor these 3 things. It's that simple. Now, him choosing a Pick-Me has nothing to do with lack of self-confidence, but everything to do with him being strategic. Remember, gentlemen are focused, disciplined strategists that think long-term, especially for a relationship. So what that means is he's going to be very selective in the woman he chooses. Now, most women use the term Pick-Me as a pejorative, but those women usually display feminine traits that we are highly attracted to. Here are the top 3. Number 1, physical presentation. You have to pass the looks test, gate number 1. If you're fit and appropriately dressed, we see you as being disciplined, proud, and more importantly, socially aware. Elegance and grace. We love that. Number 2, feminine communication. Soft delivery, clear message. Gentlemen respond strongly to clarity wrapped in tact. And number 3, authentic warmth. That sweet kindness embedded in her personality. Gentlemen gravitate towards women who are pleasant to be around, encouraging, and socially graceful. Ladies, these 3 things will definitely hold his attention so you can get to know each other properly over time. That's how ladies keep it OPG.
All right, there we have it. So I started communicating with the ladies as well, because they were asking for information on the other public channels where men and women congregate, and they ask questions and DMing me and everything else. So yes, I am coming up with a program. It will be out soon. It's already in the making for women talking to women that want to get to know how to establish a relationship with a gentleman, okay? Here's the one thing about relationships, and what I've noticed, especially in our community. We are not taught how to relationship. Relationship is a skill set. Okay, so but let me prelude with this. I am not a dating coach. All right. I create transformation in people, whatever it is. So my personal, I should say, our larger business, this is kind of fun, is growing. We have an organization called Saduri International. What organizations do, they call me in to work with their leadership, from senior level leaders, executive leaders, all the way to people who are emerging leaders, and create transformation in the organization. So we do expound on certain skill sets, communication skill sets, leadership skill set. We have identified 65 different skill sets, let me put it that way. So strategic thinking, critical thinking, marketing, sales, and a plethora of others. Now, here's the deal. Because we come in and we institute transformation, and how do we do that? We create a framework, a teachable framework. I and some of my other consultants, we teach from that framework. And this is where the transformation happens, once they understand and reprogram their mind to understand the concepts and the frameworks that we're talking about. Now, here's the thing about it. They're one person going in and out of different environments, the professional environment, the social environment, and also their personal life. So guess what happens? When they increase in the professional arena, so does the personal and the social arena. Those also increase. At least their influence increase in those areas. So what happens is they start to experience a totally different, I wouldn't say confrontation, totally different, I should say, communication with those people in those different areas. Whether it's professional, dealing with other people there in their workplace environment, whether it's a social environment, whether it's networking or they're just out having fun, and also the home life if they have a significant other. That's where the change happens. My forte is understanding how to institute those frameworks in their head. And we have what we call a coach and do methodology. So we coach 1 week, they go out and do the rest of the 6 days, they come back the next week, we meet on a weekly basis, and guess what? They are experiencing the transformation that we're talking about. So that's what I do. Now, back to the subject at hand. I'm very specific, extremely specific on the words that I say. And in the video, I preluded the video with, we're not talking about the average guy. But looking at some of the comments, I can tell that a lot of the ladies are used to dealing with average guys. I'm not talking about those guys. You can find those guys a dime a dozen. And in fact, those are the very guys that you all have been having trouble dealing with. I'm talking about a gentleman. So if you ever decide to do research and you, you look up the social archetypes for males, not just the alpha, but also behavioral archetypes, the gentleman's at the top. I deal with a lot of gentlemen in the professional arena. I deal with a lot of gentlemen in the social arena. These gentlemen, these guys are totally different. And it doesn't matter the color of their skin. They're different. They're very, very, very strategic. So when I'm talking about expounding or growing a relationship with a gentleman, I am not talking about the average guy. Let's just make that clear right up front, because a lot of the comments are coming in and I can tell by what you're saying is that you're talking about the average guy, not talking about that dude. You can find that dude anywhere. And in fact, I have a program that coaches guys 12 to 17, 18 to 25, and 26 plus. And I have an opportunity to chat with them in their specific domain about based on their age, what are some of the opportunities for them at that time, at their age. The program works. So this month, in fact, we're going to go 2 months. I'm talking about relationship. Later on, I'll expose what I call the 7 gates. So when I said gate number 1, I was really talking to some of those people who are also familiar with some of the content I've been putting out. And I spoke about gate number 1, looks. So I have a presentation. I'm going to go through that presentation as well, expounding on the points that I made in the video. But again, I'm choosing my words very, very carefully. And I can tell that some of you ladies, it seems like, not all, it seems like a majority of the ladies leaving comments, you've never dealt with a gentleman. I'm sure you've met one, but you may not have been in a relationship with one. Does that make sense? You may have come across one here and there, maybe even at work, maybe wasn't your type, maybe wasn't the right shade, the color, whatever it is, but I can tell you haven't been in a relationship with a gentleman. I I've read a lot of different things, from pulling off the mask and all this. Gentlemen don't do that. We're very upfront right from the get-go of what's going on, because we are evaluating. Still got this cough, excuse me. So what that means is that they're paying attention. Now, let me give you insight to how a gentleman thinks and how a gentleman may even approach a woman. Here's something that most guys, again, will not tell you. Gentlemen, we just do it because, and we talk about these types of things, what I'm about to release to you and what I'm about to tell you. So here you go. Then I'm going to combat some of the other information that was in the comments. A gentleman will study you before he approaches you. Let that sink in for a moment. A gentleman will study you before he approaches you. So if you don't get confronted, when I say confronted, I'm not talking about combatable, just being combative. I'm not talking about that. If you are not accosted, I'm not talking about that. You just, hey, stop. Gentlemen don't do that. we're going to get your attention, or we're going to see if you can also reciprocate the attention. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say, for instance, you frequent a bar and a guy is there that you set eyes on, and you're like, oh, okay, he looks kind of nice. And he also, let's say you guys lock eyes and he reciprocates the eye contact, and next thing you know, he may walk by you, may not say a word to you. Okay, so he may walk to the bathroom, walk to the bar, whatever. And he's tested. That's a test. Test number one. Test is for the lady: will she make eye contact and or speak and or acknowledge? If you don't, test number one failed. Okay, cool. If you do, great. Okay, cool. All right, he may nod back or whatever, and then go by. Go back to the seat. He sees you, let's say, the next week. He might not say anything again, because now he's going to observe how you are dealing with interacting with other people, men especially, how you're interacting with other women, how you are treating the servers, the hosts, whatever. And again, he may walk by, may say something, may not. Women, what you all have to learn how to do, and I was coaching this other one lady talking about relationships, and we were at a cigar shop, we were talking. I said, women have forgotten how to drop their handkerchief or their proverbial handkerchief, meaning that you walk by a guy, you acknowledge a guy, and my shade of women hardly ever do what I'm talking about. Walk by a guy, acknowledge, hey, how's it going? Speak or smile, something of that effect that makes a connection. We talk about this all the time. So I'm just giving you insight to how the conversation that gentlemen are having about our experiences out there. Okay. So when that happens and you're not saying anything, test number two comes about. And if you acknowledge again, okay, cool. All right. All well and good. The third time he may approach then, because gentlemen are strategic and we operate off of frequency as well. How many times have I seen her? How is she interacting with other people? And is that interaction positive? And are you being loud, boisterous? Are you dressed elegantly? Tongue twister there. Are you dressed elegantly? We're looking at that. Are you dressing, showing a lot of cleavage? Nowadays, women come in and ass is hanging out underneath. It's ridiculous, right? Anyway, that's how I'm giving you a very high level view of how strategic a gentleman's approach is. We're not impulsive. So we're going to take our time, mainly because we can. We don't need to rush things. Gentlemen have other women pretty much lined up and can choose them if he wants. Not saying this from a braggadocious standpoint. I'm saying this from a truth standpoint, because I'm around these guys. These guys are successful. They are very strategic. They're in the professional arena. Telling you, these guys got their shit together. Their stuff together. Let's go that way, right? So what I'm saying here is that what you need to do is elevate your mindset of who I'm talking about. I'm being very, very specific about who I'm talking about. I'm talking about a gentleman. I'll say this again, not because I don't have anything else to say, but because it bears repeating. I am talking about a gentleman. There aren't as many of us out there anymore. They may be taken. They may have moved away from the area. There's men. This is why I do what I do for LPG with the gentlemen and the guys that are in the program, because they have decided to aspire to be a gentleman. Now, being a gentleman is a choice. It's not a mandate. 100% choice. No one's going to force somebody to be a gentleman. And the structure and the discipline usually starts when we're younger. Our fathers, our uncles, the other men in our life, like my martial art teacher was a gentleman, very much so, had us very structured and disciplined in the martial art class. My dad was very structured, very organized, very cerebral as well. So it usually the impetus of being a gentleman starts at an earlier age. And then at some point in time, we grow up and we start dressing differently. We start talking differently. We see the value. We might not see the value when we're younger, but as we get older, we start interfacing with other men for business or other ladies for business and women for relationships. The whole game changes. The mindset changes. but the seeds have already been planted. Nowadays, there aren't that many seeds being planted in the home place environment. So that's why I do what I do. That's why I feel compelled to talk to gentlemen and ladies, because when it comes to relationship is one area, and we've identified 12 different areas where a guy should have confidence, 12 different areas where guys, same 12 areas where they should be competent, the same 12 areas where they should add value, and it continues to grow. We have to learn this stuff. Guys, we have to learn this information. And who are going to get it from? Oftentimes the fathers might not know it, or they're not sharing, or the father isn't around. So people like me who feel compelled and also want to help young men grow into gentlemen so they can be more productive and better in society, I'm all for that. I understand my purpose. My purpose is to help people be better in all those 12 areas. And relationship is one area. It's a graphic. I'll show it later on, maybe not in this live, but I'll show it later on in the contents that I'll be producing. And again, it's a circle graphic, but it has 12 different bubbles. Communications one, finance, fashion, business, parenting. Depending on where they are in their lives, some of those bubbles might not be as apropos. However, they're still very relevant. So when the guy grows up, marries before he has her carry, and he does need to understand how to relationship so they can have a good relationship. He will learn how to be a parent so they can be a good parent, or the guy can be a good parent. Okay, so that being said, just setting the stage here. Now let's dive into the content of what I'm talking about in the video. So I have this other, and I'll be posting it. There's an infographic, and it goes through 10 different areas. And I only listed 3 in this video. Shorts, you have to make a short video. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds. All right, cool. But there are 10 different areas of where a guy will be choosing or picking and choosing or evaluating a woman in a relationship. I only listed 3, the most important 3. I feel the most important 3. Some of them, depending on the gentleman, some other ones may take precedent. However, I did the 3 that are most common, and me asking questions to other guys of these 10, which are the most common for them. These 3 are the ones that stood out. Okay. So now let's talk about that. Let me show you this presentation. So here, I utilize the word pick-me on purpose. I knew what I was doing. And some people got in the comments, say, you know what pick-me is, blah, blah, blah. No, I know what a pick-me is. In fact, I even have the definition right here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me pull it over here to the screen so you can just see this right quick. Just so that we're on the same page, okay? What a pick-me is. Move this over a little bit, okay? I know what a pick-me is. But the reason why I chose pick-me is because even when women who have their stuff together and they have the right mindset and they are talking about being cooperative with the guy, other women still label them a pick-me. This has been my observation. Not all women will say this, but then when I look at that young lady's comments, when she's talking positively about a guy, things that a woman should be doing in order to make sure that she can be cooperative with the guy, when you look in the comments, they're just ripping her a new one. And she may already have a man, and she knows what to do. So what does that tell me? That tells me that even though the word pick-me has a negative connotation, the wife is saying the same thing. And guess what? Now the wife has a negative connotation associated with it as well. They call her the pick-me. It's like, wait a minute, she already's been chosen. By the way, chosen, and people say this, I don't want to be chosen. Well, look at the word, please. It's a synonymous word. Chosen and pick mean the same thing. If all you ladies out there that go to church and you throw in the scripture, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, let me expound that and make that clear for you. It's not talking about him just finding you and then making you his wife. No, it's not like that. Trust me, it is not like that. So yes, a man finds a wife. It's a good thing that he found her, but he's going to evaluate her. And if he finds you suitable to be his wife, then that's a good thing. That's the part you're not understanding. From a guy standpoint, we have to find you suitable first. And some of you ladies, because of society right now, and guys are very, especially the younger gentlemen, the younger generation guys, they're very confused because they see content that says women don't want to be approached, and then they see content that says men aren't approaching. Which way do you want it, ladies? You can't have it both ways. That doesn't make sense. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, I don't want to be approached, and then get on social media and complain about not being approached. And they're scrolling and they're finding this content. And so the guys are like, forget it. We're just not going to approach you at all. Oh, that's not the best solution. So I tell these guys, that's not the best solution. So I try to have them reprogram their mindset on how to approach if you are going to approach. I tell them to look nice, smell good, have your stuff together. The looks are always first. The looks, I don't care if you're a man looking at a woman or a woman looking at a man, the looks are always first. The attraction has to be there first. And that's what I said in the video. And some people think that that's a superficial aspect of understanding how to select a mate. How many of you want to have a mate that you're not attracted to? That doesn't make sense. When I saw my wife for the first time, I was like, oh, nice. A friend of ours we had in common wanted her to meet me and wanted me to meet her. We've been trying to set this up for a whole entire year. And I saw her, I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, then I started evaluating her. She started evaluating me. It's not a one-way street. It's not the guy is only the one doing the evaluation. We just have to be sure because we're the ones going to pop the question and say, hey, will you marry me? Most of the time. But ladies, finding a guy doesn't mean that you can't introduce yourself to a guy. Doesn't mean that you are just solo and he's going to just come to you. That doesn't mean that at all. You may have to drop your proverbial handkerchief and the guy proverbially picks it up and introduces himself. A smile works. A hello works. Even coming right over to him, hey, how are you, works. Then he has something to work off of. So for you younger ladies, if you're watching this, trust me, you ladies, after all this stuff goes around on the internet about not approaching, you ladies are going to have to learn how to spit game. I'm making a prediction. That from this point and going forward, you ladies are going to have to learn how to approach a guy. See, for years and years and years, us guys, we've been approaching women. We have to know how to talk to you all to get your attention. We have to understand how to have presence so that we're seen when we're in the room. And it's not about validation or having someone else validate. It's about being seen. So if you are out looking in the marketplace, of course you want to be seen. How are you going to get chosen if you're not seen? But how are you also going to get chosen if you're not talking? How are you going to get chosen if you're not friendly? How are you going to get chosen if he walks by and you're in your phone and you're not paying attention to him? He's not going to interrupt you. Most gentlemen are not going to interrupt you like that. Again, we're not impulsive. Again, we don't need to. It's not that serious for us because there are other women that are available. I'm being truthful. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just being truthful. This is how it is. This is reality versus some of the delusional opportunities that you ladies have been given by some other guys who are not telling you the truth. I'm going to give it to you raw. I do the same thing with my girls. Sometimes we get really wrong. They're like, Dad. I'm like, no, you need to hear this. This is how guys think. This is how gentlemen think. These are the traits of a gentleman. So when we're picking a woman, we go through these 7 different gates. Again, I'll be revealing that later on. This is one of those gates. The looks is the gate number 1. Have to pass the looks test. But you're not being overlooked. You're being evaluated. Yes, we are evaluating you. Why not? If we are going to make a long-term decision to be with someone, we better make sure, extra sure, look for all the red flags, yellow flags. The framework we have for relationships, the 7 gates, goes through all of that. In fact, I wrote a book about it. The book's going to be distributed to the gentlemen who are in the program. Other people can buy it later on, but they are first and they get that information. Okay, physical presentation has to be first. I made one mistake in the video. I said effort and grace. It should have been effort. It should have been effort. Yeah, effort and what's the other one? Effort and elegance. I think that's what it was. Yes, effort and elegance. Fit. Yes, most men want fit women. Somebody in the comments said, "What's fit?" I said, "You know what fit is." How many of you don't know what being fit is as a woman, or being fit is as a man? You can look at a guy and see whether he's fit or not. I'm not talking about the internal workings and conditions and functionality of his organs. I'm talking about, does he look fit? Is he overweight, or is he within the confines of something that you like, being fit? Most women want a fit guy, just like most men, we like beautiful women. My wife is fit. She goes work out all the time, sometimes more than me, because I'm doing other stuff or working with clients, whatever. But she works out. She's fit. We like that. It's nothing wrong with being fit. So you pass the first gate. You have to pass the first gate. There's no way a gentleman who's worth his salt is going to look past this one right here, because that's what initially attracts us. And now I'll be totally honest with you. Here's another secret about a guy that you might know or might not know. And there's a difference between how men and women see each other. Women, when a guy walks in, they see the guy as a whole. Oh, he's dressed nice, everything else, right? They see the whole package. Then later on, women starts to see the guy in parts, meaning that I see the arms and see the legs or whatever else. Guys, we see women in parts first. It's flips. We see women in parts first. Wow, she got a nice face. Whoa, she got big boobs. Wow, she got a nice fat badonkadonk back there, right? That's how we initially see a woman. And then when we start talking to you, gate number 2, we start getting into your personality, then it comes together as an entire package. I'm just being honest with you. We initially see women and we see how you're dressed. And women know that we are attracted to how you look, because you look at any picture that most of you have on Instagram, I guarantee you there's a picture with you looking over your shoulder, showing your derriere. Why are you showing that? Because, we like it. Let's just be honest with you, right? You're not showing that to other women. Well, you might be if you like women. However, that's beside the point. So the presentation, the physical presentation has to be first. Then we start talking to you and we start listening to your voice. Is she soft in her words? Does she cuss like a sailor? Those are some of the things that turn us off. Does she speak properly? Does she enunciate her words? Because gentlemen, we move in some higher circles and we want to be sure that the person we bring with us when we start dating can represent us together as a couple just as much as I know that I will represent. Same thing with my wife. We started doing these cigar events. I invited her to my cigar events. I had a lot of other people there, cigar and whiskey tasting events. A lot of people there that got to know her, and it had to be someone that looked nice and is well-spoken, soft voice, being able to communicate properly. These things matter to us. Don't shoot the messenger. So the communication has there. You don't need to be louder. You need to be clearer. Soft tone, direct message. Because you have a bubbly attitude. All great. We like that as well. Not somebody who's, for lack of a better phrase, has the blonde attitude. Just kind of dorky like. Some people like that though. The different strokes for different folks. And if they do, all well and good. If they can make it work and get along and coexist. That's the thing about it. So we're not trying to say that your communication skills are, well, let me put it like this. Definitely communicate well. I was about to say something else. Definitely communicate. We're listening to how you talk. Trust me. He's listening very, very, very intently. If you can explain yourself properly? Can you hold a conversation? Can you bandy a conversation back and forth? That matters to us. Next point, other point I made, warmth. Now, here's where that sweet, most guys are a sucker for sweet, competent women. And by the way, we're not talking about, and someone mentioned this in the comments, we don't want a pushover. We don't want a woman that's a pushover. That's not who we're looking for. We're not looking for some woman that we can just start commanding and crafting with. Gentlemen don't do that. That's why I made the distinction in the video. That's why I had in the title, gentlemen. And I'm not talking about all guys when I say gentlemen, because all guys aren't gentlemen. At the same time, you're not going to be dealing with somebody who's a simp. So if you think you can just get a gentleman, and because we're very observant, you think you can get a gentleman, then start using him for whatever you're trying to use him for, it's not going to work like that. He'll resist. He'll pull back. He won't reciprocate. Just like on the flip side, if a guy does that to a woman, she shouldn't reciprocate either. She shouldn't get used either. She should be very competent and cognizant of what's going on. Gentlemen, we are. I don't know. Now we have, before we got to the, that's what I'm about to say here, before we got to the prowess that we are now, most guys have gotten used and taken in some way. It's part of the game. We understand it's part of the lesson learned. We didn't take an L for the loss. We took an L for the lesson. That's what we took. Now we know what to do and what not to do. In every experience, my mom said you learn two things, what to do and what not to do. Absolutely 100% correct. The thing is that pattern for the guy gets repeated, where he's continuously and repeatedly being used. Most gentlemen catch on to that, and we understand female nature at some point in time. But not all women are like that. We know that. We know there are some really good women out there. And when we find a good woman, guess what? We're most likely going to lock it up. All things being equal, and she goes through all the 7 gates. There's no extreme red flags that are a deterrent to moving forward. Oh yeah, he'll lock her up. He'll get it. He'll be like, all right, cool. You know what? Pop the question. That's just how it is. I'm being totally honest with you. That's how gentlemen think. So when we talk about having that sweet personality, and guess what? Don't try to make it so that you can be, or the pick-me and be using the guy, talking sweet, being in your feminine, and then make the switch. Alexa, turn off the living room lights. Okay. We know what that sounds like because they're very attentive, they're very good listeners, so they can hear through all the minutia. They can read between the lines. Let me put it that way. I know that I can for sure because I do this all the time. I coach people in the corporate sector, and a lot of times I have to piece things together. Well, guys, we understand patterns fairly well. And so that pattern that we're seeing in you, that could be a red flag, but it's not sustainable. Here's the thing about it. Because the gentleman is going to take his time to really lock you up, what your phoniness, your fakeness is not sustainable, just like his isn't either. But guys, we don't need to. As one lady said, oh, what happens when we pull out the mask? Guys, gentlemen, we don't wear masks. We'll tell you straight up front, right up front, what the deal is. There's no, because I'm not trying to sound arrogant there. We don't have to. We really don't have to. Because there are other women that are around, usually the gentleman that he can choose from. But guess what? He has his eyes focused on you. How are you going to keep that attention, right? That's the whole opportunity where things should match up and be congruent. If there's no congruency there, he's going to be like, all right, cool. All right, we're done later. But you're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Not like that, by trying to be phony, being fake, trying to get in where you fit in, as we used to say when I was younger. No, it's not going to be like that. He's already been through too many experiences, all the rigmarole and all the minutia. He already knows all that. Very sharp. These guys are very, very sharp, extremely sharp. You'll like them if you meet them. Trust me. You'll like them when you meet them. My wife and I, we're out sometimes, and some lady will start talking to me, and they understand where I'm coming from a gentleman's standpoint, because they see and experience my presence. It's another skill set that guys have to learn is presence. It's a real thing. It's a skill set, so it can be learned. They sense my presence. They may talk to me, and I'll be totally upfront. I'm married. My wife's right there. Still have a good conversation with them, but as far as I'll even introduce them to my wife. All right? Hey, Yasmin. Hey, this is so-and-so. So-and-so, this is my wife, Yasmin. All well and good. We don't have to be phony. We don't have to play games. Gentlemen aren't playing games. We're too far ahead of games. We ran game when we were younger. If you're my age now, at the time making this video right now, I'm 50, I'll be 53 this year. We don't need to run game. Don't need that. Don't need it. That's in the past. Of guys, and we're learning how to deal with women. Yeah, we have to learn game then. It is what it is. But that's the game, right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. So we have this strategic mindset. Gentlemen have a strategic mindset. That's why I wanted to talk to you about being coherent, or I should say coexisting with the gentleman, with your coherency intact with what a real gentleman is. Because most of you have not experienced a gentleman. I am thoroughly convinced you may have seen one, you may have spoken to one, you may have walked by one, but if one was staring you in the face, you probably wouldn't notice what and who a gentleman is and what consists of a gentleman. Some people can fake it, but you should be able to read through it, especially if you're of age. By the time a women tend to be more socially inept than guys. Just being honest, women tend to be more socially inept. Some guys are socially adept. Excuse me, it's the wrong word. Women are socially adept. Guys are socially inept. So you take a 25-year-old woman, 30-year-old woman, she's more socially prowessed than the guy at that same age. Most of the time, not all the time, because a gentleman would have started working with these skill sets already. But women, it's sharp. We know that. Gentlemen know that. We're not stupid. We know we like women. We like sharp women. We like competent, coherent, down-to-earth, real women. That's just how it is. We're not looking for a pushover. We're looking for somebody that we can command. We're looking for somebody who can stand on their own, who will have the integrity and the loyalty when we're not even present. That's what we're looking for. So when we start talking about relationships, we have to be very, very strategic, especially if this is going to be a long-term thing. And I had made another video that guys put women in 3 different categories. Doesn't change even when you become a gentleman. Smash, pass, or hash, meaning that he'll smash, and that woman probably passed the looks test, but somewhere in the personality, or the looks was too loose and the personality is not there, they don't connect, he may still hit it. He may still clap the cheeks, as they say, right? Smash, pass, nope, no go, strong no go. And then hash, need to hash out a conversation. You know what? I think I'll move this forward a little bit. I like her, how she looks. I like her demeanor. I like how we had a good conversation. Let's take that a little further. That's exactly what the guy is going to be thinking. Smash, patch, or hash. So in the hash section, this is where the 7 gates and understanding how to relationship comes into play. Because remember, as I said earlier, relationship is a skill set. I don't care what anyone says. And I believe this is why there's so many divorces out there, because people don't understand how to relationship. When you learn how to relationship, things open up like a nice little flower, and you can understand things a lot better. But we have to be strategic. Remember, he's not choosing for today. No, we're choosing for long term. Gentlemen, we have this expansive mindset. We can see the end from the beginning, or at least start thinking about the end from the beginning. How is this going to turn out? So most guys, if they're looking at you from a serious dating standpoint, it's not going to be, okay, just for right now. No, we're evaluating for long term, but we want to be sure. There's a lot at stake. I was married one other time, got divorced. I did 16 years. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, you know what? I'm out. And I just couldn't take it any longer. Guys, we'll stay there. We'll be loyal. We'll toil through whatever, through all the heartache, all the rigmarole. But guess what? I'll put it here. We want some peace, though. Okay, you understand the traits? Can you apply them consistently? That's where the game shifts. And one of the other opportunities I'll be sharing is a carousel, which will have all 10 of the information points. And I only spoke about 3 in this short video, and I want to talk about that. But we are very, very cognizant of understanding how to relationship is very key, is a key factor for us to make sure we get it right. The only way to get it right is to go through the whole evaluation process and not rush the process. So don't be surprised, though, and I'll be totally honest with you here as well. All right, don't be surprised if after a year, 2 years, maybe haven't popped the question. Some of you are like, whoa, that's way too long. Well, he's evaluating still. You should be evaluating too. That's what I'm saying. You should be evaluating too. Some people think that they should be able to make a decision in the 6 months. I think that's not logically, or I should say, well, it's not logically sound, but it's also not reality. It's not conducive for a strong relationship. I don't think you can get to know someone to the degree that you want to marry them in 6 months. You might feel that, but I'm going to talk about feeling, because there's one area of these 7 gates that operates in the feeling. Then from there, we have to compartmentalize the feeling and deal with the facts, the things that we see up front, and evaluate that. So there you have it, ladies, gentlemen. I want to explain that video, expound on that video a little bit more, just to give some context about how this can go about and where it will be going. I will be posting more content throughout the weeks. Again, we're in April, and I just started relationships. Yeah, April 1st, or the first Friday of April, whatever that was. And it'll be going for 2 months, because this is such a big topic. It warrants about 8 weeks, at least 8 weeks. All right, folks. So there you have it. Granison shines. Let's keep it LPG out there and be successful in the relationships. But I'll be posting more content.